If I asked you to convert 320 degrees to radians, how do we convert to radians? Good. We know pi radians, 180 degrees are the same. We multiply by pi over 180 so that the degrees cancel. Leave your answer in terms of pi. What does that give us? What if I want to get degrees? How do we change 4 pi over 5 to degrees? Good. And pi's cancel. So 4 over 5 times 180. Okay. And make sure you put the degree symbol on it, because without it, it's wrong. Any questions there? Number 3, if I'm asking you to evaluate something like that, I would say give me the exact value. So test or quiz, I'm going to make sure that everybody has a calculator where it doesn't just give you the answer. So my graphing calculators are okay. The non-graphing ones over here actually give you a little bit more than I like for some of these if I'm trying to make sure that you know them. So I'd probably tell you on the next test that you have to use my graphing ones, just because we're not graphing, and that way I know everybody's on a level playing field. What work do I expect you to show? What quadrant is this in? Okay. We know that double minus 1 is always quadrant 4. If you really got stuck, how could you figure it out? Convert to degrees, absolutely. Reference angle is just pi over 3, or if you're more comfortable thinking 60 degrees, that's perfectly fine. In quadrant 4, cosine is positive, so that means cosecant would be negative. Okay, cosecant's a reciprocal of sine. What's the sine of 60 degrees? So cosecant would flip it, so we get negative 2 radical 3 over 3. What am I asking for in question 4? Find the angle. If you are between pi and 3 pi over 2, what quadrant is that? Okay, that also tells me I need an answer in quadrant 3 and I'm in radians. Reference angle. When is cosine radical 3 over 2? So I'm thinking about my hand trick. I need cosine, not sine. So it'd be 30, which is pi over 6. What's pi over 6 in quadrant 3?
7 pi over 6.
Remember in quadrant 3, the top is 1 more. Any questions on that? So we're nearing the end of our chapter. If I put these types of questions on test, everybody knows what I expect and how to evaluate. Okay. Nobody's trying to use their calculator. Everybody can figure them out without a calculator, right? Okay. The other thing we did in this was we had some word problems. And remember, we only have 2 formulas right now. So any formulas would be given to you. You have to know what you're using and how to use it. So if I said the minute hand of a clock is 3.1 centimeters long, what does that number mean? The radius. So I'm going to write down R equals 3.1. How far does the tip of the minute hand travel? Bless you. So if I'm asking how far it's traveling, what am I looking for? The arc length. What variable do we use for arc length? In 3 hours. Okay, the 3 hours itself isn't anything I need, but it's giving me the information to find what I need. Think about a clock. Every hour, what does the minute hand do? Okay, how far is that? 360 degrees, but we know all of these formulas require us to use what? Radians. So how would I convert that into radians? 2 pi. So this is giving me my angle. Since it's 3 hours, it goes around 3 times, so I just do 2 pi times 3. So my angle is 6 pi. If we make a list of all the information we have, then it's really easy to pick the formula. We have R, S, and theta, so the only formula using those is S equals R theta. Plug in. .6 pi. You could multiply out the pi, it would probably be somewhere around 55, 56, something like that. What would my unit be? Centimeters. Is that one okay? Let's try another review problem. An arc of length 5 feet. What variable am I giving you? Is cut off by an angle of 30 degrees. What variable do we use for the angle? Find the area of the sector form. What variable do we use for that? Okay. What problems do you know right away?
The 30 degrees has to be converted.
Right. So I heard 2 things, and they're both the things we need. We can't use 30 degrees. So you might know 30 degrees is the same thing as pi over what? 6. If you didn't, you multiply by pi over 180. Second thing is, if I'm going to use my area formula, we need the radius, and did I give you that? No. So how do we find it? So my S is 5 equals R times theta, which is pi over 6. All right, so if I'm going to move that over, you can divide by pi over 6 or think of it as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I get my radius to be 30 divided by pi. So now we can do the area. 1/2 times 30 over pi squared times theta, which is pi over 6. So you could say 75 over pi or 23.8732, what would my units be?